KWFM, South Tucson.
The views of this program are not necessarily those of KWFM, its management, or its sponsors. The host is solely responsible for the content.
On a mission given to me by Woody Shaw, Sunship, Dizzy, and Billy Higgins, dedicated to pursuing a piece of our cultural heritage through interviews with my jazz heroes, this is The Jake Feinberg Show. Welcome, everybody, inside the studios of KWFM 1330 The Star. This is The Jake Feinberg Program, and we're excited to have you along with us today on a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in the Old Pueblo. Everybody lives their lives in stages that change minute by minute. Fearlessness, reckless abandon. Others stifle their own creativity because of a lack of confidence, hope, despair, blessed forgiveness, and humility. It is rare that someone is able to encapsulate these emotions into art. My guest today is someone who poured his soul into his music. And this soul is sometimes filled with intensity and strength, fearlessness, reckless abandon, despair, and spiritual enlightenment. He has lived in urban centers, in the woods, collaborated with artists like Ndugu Chancellor, Denise Williams, Ralph McDonald, Ellen McElwain, Warren Smith, and his brother, bassist Don Moore. He has done and seen it all, including being a part of the heroic and courageous Freedom Riders. Jerry Moore, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Jake.
It's nice to talk to you, my friend.
My pleasure.
The cosmos, the spirits.
They're still after me, man.
And they're still after you, man. So I mean, they're still after me too, man. They still roll me so hard, man. Jerry Moore, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show. All right, so we got, we're playing it fast and loose, but I guess my point was, I was reading last night on your website about the Freedom Rides, and it's so compelling. I mean, and I just wonder, sort of the inspirations that and the courage that it took to get and do those things, and what compelled you to do that.
Okay, well, what was happening? A lot of people think it was the first time, but the rides had happened in the 40s. And actually, but they didn't get that far into the South. They didn't get deep in, and they wanted to come deeper. I was involved already in South Carolina. We were doing sit-ins and demonstrating. We knew the rides were coming through. And by the time they got to us in Sumter, some of the riders had been detained or disappeared. They weren't sure where they were. So 3 of us from our student group joined the rides to make sure that they continued on. And I don't know if that really answers the question.
No. I wanted you to. What I'm saying is that you there was easily opportunity for you to turn away from it, but you didn't.
No, as a matter of fact, I was not supposed to go. I had mentioned to my parents when I was home during Christmas vacation that I was planning on going, and Mom got really upset. Said, Ivor, tell that boy, talk to that boy, not to go, and they were saying, well, you've done enough with the sit-ins and stuff we were doing. But when they got there, there was a need, so we just filled the need.
And Sumter has ramifications. I mean, that place was a hotbed of activity for the Confederacy during the Civil War. What was it? It must have been, the strife and the tension must have been there. I mean, were you able to focus and block it out, or did it galvanize you more to want to make a statement?
Oh yeah. I mean, well, we knew there'd be resistance. At one point, I remember the sheriff had promised me a coffin.
Right. That's right.
And,
They promised you a coffin. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and Sumter, you know, like, well, a lot of people don't know, but it was a focal point because people used to say it was the birthplace of the White Citizens Council, which I don't know whether it was a fact or not, but it just became important, you know. And a lot of the students that actually started the sit-ins, the jail without bail, in Rock Hill, at a junior college, had come to Sumter. So it just became, you know, like Sheriff Parnell is saying, was the niggas will never take Sumter, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, I took a history Civil War class to recertify as a teacher, be certified as a teacher of history, and my professor was very adamant about. You know, he taught me about how the battles that were waged there, and the ferocity of which the WCC, you know, they really fought. You know, they were true Confederacy through and through. So, I say to myself. When you jumped on that bus, was it primarily like you would get into sit-ins? Would there be acoustic music going on? Were there drums? What kind of music were carrying you through this trip?
No. When we got to different places, no, we didn't have drums and stuff. There would be, like, at different places, pianos or guitars and. This is you're talking about on the ride down, right?
I guess my overall question is to keep the morale high and to keep you upbeat. What kind of music were you playing and were you hearing?
Okay, yeah. Well, we were just singing. We were singing these good old spirituals that have been turned into freedom songs. You know,
mm-hmm.
Like "Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Round," and you know, "If You Miss Me from the Back of the Bus," you know, "You Can't Find Me Nowhere."
Could you sing a little bit? I would love to. I want to hear it with your voice.
Okay. If you miss me from the back of the bus and you can't find me nowhere, come on over to the jailhouse. Come on up to the front of the bus. I'll be riding up there, and if they ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. Turn me round, ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. But keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to Freedom Land. You know, those kind of songs.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Yes, I mean that's so that really came out of the gospel, though. I mean that was stuff that was you were singing those types of spirituals.
Oh yeah. And, you know, a lot of it was, you know, a cappella and stuff, but it was, man, it was moving, you know, and it was inspirational, you know, because it encouraged you, you know, it kept the, you know, you knew what you were going to face, and you knew there'd be brutality, maybe even die, you know, but you went, you know, in those songs, and you went and come, you know, everybody was together. You know, a lot of people don't realize on the Freedom Rides that, approximately 30 to 40% of the riders were white, and 80% of those were Jewish, the white riders.
Yeah, it doesn't. That is really beautiful to hear. I just think, you know, oppressed people, you know, can bond in that way, and there's no doubt that, or people that are just kept down for no reason other than their ethnicity or their color of their skin. So I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all. But there was a. I look at it, and without getting too deep into sociology, it's just, you know, there was just such an overt racist tendency. I mean, you'd have people being beaten, hosed down, flogged, dogs attacking them. I mean, these were visuals that were showing up on the TV screens, and I don't care how uptight or how loose or liberal you or conservative you were, you had to be just abhorred by those scenes. And then also taking into account, boy, these people are willing to put their lives on the line. They must really care about what they're fighting for. I mean, it for black and white people, for simplistic people, they could see it was wrong too, as juxtaposed to today, which is just more covert and scheming, and then obviously the ultimate corrupter being money.
Yeah.
When did you? My question is, when did you actually Dudley Randall? When did you discover him? Was he on these rides with you, or did you only discover his writings after?
No. Let's see. I discovered them. It was just before the assassination of Kennedy, John Kennedy. Because I remember, because at that point, I would be doing music. We were organizing for voter registration and stuff like that. And I had found, it was in some newspaper, his poem about the Ballad of Birmingham, and I had set it to music, so we were singing it as we went around. And I remember it was right around then because I think that was I think it was going to be the first time I did it. And we were at a school, and when I was getting ready to sing it, and we got word that President Kennedy had been assassinated.
Wow. The day of that you were going to perform it?
Yeah.
Wow. So let me just be clear, though.
Not the Dressed All in Pink, not the Kennedy song. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
The Ballad of Birmingham.
But as far as when you said you put music to it, does that mean that you also figured out how you were going to sing it as well, or was it just the instrumental stuff?
Oh, no. To sing it, yeah. Because at that point, yeah. Because, I had the guitar. I had picked up the guitar and had learned, I had basic chords down. And so I used to, before that, and growing up in the Bronx and stuff, I used to, when I was junior high school and I started writing, I used the piano. But while I was in college, I picked up the guitar. So I just, put the chords together and the melody and stuff.
Well, let's just cut to the chase and cue this puppy up and come back and we'll talk about it in just a little bit, okay?
Okay, cool.
Say, baby, where can I find you? Baby, where can I find you? Oh, I'm hung up, strung out, put down, turned around from like a hunchback hippies on a flat top cruise, bragging about the grooviest high. Herbert's waiting for a spaceship to pick him up, still looking for pie in the sky. Newton and me shout obscenities at four-legged winches on the avenue. Something to do. Tommy thought he was balling Sally, but she was screwing him, making him spin, taking it in, dragging him by his cunt collar to the faggot factory. Baby hung out, she got strung out, put down, turned around, she spaced out. Baby, where can I find you? In the darkness, always groping through mazes of words, searching, hoping, dodging between crescent, star, and cross. Hey, we'll meet and we'll know it's us. We'll meet and we'll know to trust. Looking for something to do. Baby, where can I find you? All the angry young men gather down by the pole to spew out to their fellow brothers all they profess to know. Bobby takes a look at the world. Is this what I kick off turkey for? Where is the door? Yeah, tired of life ain't the words to tell how very absurd it seems. Tick-tock, tick-tock, empty room, me and the clock, where I used to hear my baby breathing. I remember you, baby, on a cold winter night. I remember the warmth of your baby on the cold winter night.
Just one of the funkiest grooves of all time, man. That is awesome.
Eric was phew.
You know, it's so funny to listen. I mean, what I love the most is just Ralph McDonald just holds that shaker, and and Warren just keeps that beat. And what I love most about it is the idea that the looseness and the relaxedness, the relaxed atmosphere there. I mean, it wasn't like there was a real vibe, and you could feel it, and it pours through the entire album.
Yeah, because it's funny because the way it worked, you know, I would just come in like Warren would set the groove, or if there were some changes, I would on one or two songs I would just tell, and pretty much Eric would, you know, get the thing down. Most of it I didn't bring, you know, I wrote. I'm hearing a lot of echo, man.
Keep going, you're good.
Anyway, I try to talk through it. Okay, well, cool. And, you know, I think maybe on one or two of the songs we did that I wrote out the changes on a piece of paper. But basically, like on the album, I put down arranged by, I just put everybody's first initial, came up with the name Jabru, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because we just, you know, we went for it, and it was a gas. That particular song I really like, except, you know, I remember at the time my mother, when she heard it, she said you had to be smart and sensational, and we can't show anybody at church that song. And now I don't know, I keep saying, man, I hope the kids at Sunday school don't hear it, but I really enjoyed the groove.
But maybe they do need to hear it, you know.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, that period of time, certain things in there, about I guess would be politically incorrect or sexist, considered to be sexist nowadays. Or
Yeah, I think
what's the thing from
politically correct.
Forbit? Because used the word. Well, I guess it's a different F word. you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I mean it's.
But we did cut the F word out of the song. But Bernard, Stallman, the company, he pretty much, I told him, I said, man, I got to cut this thing back. And yeah, at the time we did it, also Richard Alderson, who was producing it, I heard him yelling something about, whoa, it's going to be a court case, but I didn't really get it. Then I just had written a song. Actually, I was trying, when I approached that song, like do a Kerouac thing, with a free flow in the writing of it.
Sure.
And then find a theme to tie together. I had some old lyrics I had written all the way back in junior high school, but parts of a poem and stuff, and to bring it up and just to make it all work, It wasn't truly, completely free flow, but the idea was,
No, and I just like the rolling lyrics. They just keep pulsating. Although I will say, in that mix, listening back, Eric is distant in the mix. But you know what? We're joined here by Jerry Moore, and I promise you, the spirits are going to control themselves, and we're going to mellow out and have a really, really. We're going to go to the news break here, come back, and we're going to talk Woodstock. We're going to talk the Working Band. We're going to talk Children of God. We're joined here by Jerry Moore, a spiritual guy and an amazing musician. Jerry, hang tight, and we'll come back on the other side, okay?
All right.
This is the Jake Feinberg Show on KWFM, 1330.
Stay right there. The Jake Feinberg Show will be right back.
One of President Richard Nixon's White House lawyers has died at the age of 80. Colson was one of 7 people involved in the Watergate break-in, and he went to jail for it. Colson became a Christian evangelical while in prison and later founded the Prison Fellowship Ministries to help inmates and ex-cons. George Zimmerman, the gunman who shot and killed Trayvon Martin, will remain in jail. For now, his company couldn't raise the bail of $150,000 that would have freed him today. Mark Sullivan, head of the United States Secret Service, has briefed President Obama on the agency's prostitution scandal. NBC's Kristen Welker.
Director Sullivan didn't want to sit down with the president until he had a clearer grasp of what actually happened, and then also until he could say, we are moving forward with this investigation swiftly.
6 Secret Service agents have either been fired or have retired, and more than 200 people have been interviewed in the ongoing investigation. This is NBC News Radio.
Every so often, the stars are in perfect alignment, and during the Lincoln Certified Pre-Owned Sales Event, now is that perfect moment. For a limited time, get 0.9% APR on the certified pre-owned Lincoln of your choice, which comes with the confidence of our 6-year, 100,000-mile comprehensive warranty. The Lincoln Certified Pre-Owned Sales Event, exclusively at your Lincoln dealer. APR varies by term. Not all buyers will qualify for Lincoln Automotive Financial Services limited term financing. Take delivery from dealer stock by 4/30/12. See dealer for qualifications, limited warranty, and complete details.
Love your Pandora bracelet.
Oh, thanks. He went to Jared.
That's Jared.
Whether you're looking for charms, rings, or bracelets, you'll find the Pandora collection at Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry, to be truly remarkable, with literally hundreds of designs. Only the store with 5 times the selection of ordinary jewelry stores could bring you a Pandora collection like this. Life has its moments. Make them unforgettable with Pandora Jewelry at Jared.
It can only be Jared.
One thing I've learned on my journey to help save people money on car insurance is that folks across the country like convenience. And what could be more convenient than visiting Geico.com, where you can manage your policy, pay your bill online, just about anything you need. And it's open 24/7. It's kind of like popping into the ultimate convenience store, except we save people money. And we don't have beef jerky.
For a free rate quote, visit Geico.com to see how much you could save. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Love your Pandora bracelet.
Oh, thanks. He went to Jared.
That's Jared.
Whether you're looking for charms, rings, or bracelets, you'll find the Pandora collection at Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry, to be truly remarkable, with literally hundreds of designs. Only the store with 5 times the selection of ordinary jewelry stores could bring you a Pandora collection like this. Life has its moments. Make them unforgettable with Pandora Jewelry at Jared.
It can only be Jared.
In this day and age, people have a lot to protect. You want to know that when you're insuring valuable goods, you have an agent you can trust. Craig Pretzinger is that agent. For auto, home, and life insurance, the Pretzinger Agency is Tucson's most honest and flexible insurance company. Have off-road vehicles or motorhomes? Pretzinger can cover that as well. Pretzinger Agency at 299-5810, located across the street from Sullivan Steakhouse on the southwest corner of River and Campbell. Trust, compassion, and service. The whole package at Pretzinger Agency. Call 299-5810 or text quote to 520-582-5150. 520-582-5150. Folks, this is Jake Feinberg. One of the first things I wanted to do when I moved to Tucson was find authentic Chinese cuisine. After a tip from the Chinese Student Association, I headed over to Badar Chinese Restaurant. Well, it's been 7 years and I have never looked back. Located at 7321 East Broadway Boulevard, Badar has been a family-run operation since 1992. The award-winning chef produces succulent dishes from sizzling ginger chicken to salt and pepper shrimp. The thing that separates Badar from the rest is that the chef procures ancient oriental dishes with the exotic island flair of Taiwan. Most importantly, there are no gimmicks or razzle-dazzle at Badar. You won't find any flat-screen TVs or karaoke machines. Badar is a place to go enjoy good food and spend time with your family. It exudes peace and tranquility after a long week of work. So come down and check out Badar Chinese Restaurant. Hong Hao Chu. It's that good. Folks, this is Jake Feinberg. When it came time to decide where to buy my daughter a piano last year, the choice was easy. We got it at Hackenberg & Sons Piano Company. Located at 4333 East Broadway Boulevard, Hackenberg & Sons is Tucson's longest-running family-owned piano business. Run by 3 brothers and a son, they pride themselves on superior instruments and customer satisfaction. It's why they've been around so long. And it's why their pianos are used at the University of Arizona, Pima Community College, and many other prestigious institutions. So whether it's for your child, business, or yourself, when you buy a piano, make sure you go to Hackenberg & Sons. It'll be the beginning of a long-lasting partnership. For more information, visit them at hackenbergpiano.com.
Even the ancient Romans knew that music can soothe the savage beast. But what if there's a beast lurking in your old stereo? Maybe it's popping static, garbled distortion, a skip in the record, or worse, dead silence. Stereo Hospital can restore smooth sound to your receiver, amp, turntable, CD player, or speakers. At the same Midtown location, 4044 East Speedway, for 10 years, Stereo Hospital might be the last shop in town doing quick, guaranteed repairs on vintage and modern stereos. Owner Jeff Brucker has over 40 years' experience as an electronic technician, and he is happy to bring back the joy and memories only your music collection provides. Log on to stereohospital.com or call 722-4610, or just bring that mean old stereo in today. Stereo Hospital at 4044 East Speedway, inside Metronome Music near Alvernon, to calm the beast.
If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Be a part of a new coalition with Jake Feinberg. The second half of my show starts right now. Welcome back, everybody, to the Jake Feinberg Show, and the spirits are well at work here. And we're joined by a legendary musician, Jerry Moore. Jerry, welcome back.
All right, thanks, man.
Before we even continue on with the banter, I just want to punch the spirits in the face right now, and let them hear a little bit more of the working band. Hit it. track was Out of the Blue by the Jerry Moore Working Band. Talk a little bit about that band, if you would.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it was in 3 different phases. You know, the first one was Greg Googie Jackson played bass, Mark Mazer on guitar, and Graham Blackburn on horns and flutes, and Richie Vita played drums, Tagliano. Yeah, and what happened? That band started. I was after Children split up. You know, I was doing gigs alone, solo gigs. You know, playing around. Whoever needs some money, go out. And one night, Greg approached and asked me if he could play. I said yeah. And then before the end of the next set, Mark came up and asked if he could join. So then after that gig, they were saying, "Well, we put together a band." You know, and not to do any recording. I told them, I said I wasn't looking to go do any more record deals or anything, and just for gigging, you know. So we called it Jerry Moore Work Band, was the name that came up with it. And then when that split up, Martha Velez, Keith Johnson was her husband, and Martha, you know, she had done with Original Hair, and she'd done an album, Fiends and Angels, I think, became a real kind of classic with Eric Clapton and Jack Bruce and all those guys. But she'd had a baby, so she was looking to start singing again. So Keith approached me about, you know, her coming and doing back. Did you hear that?
Yeah. That's our side. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So she came and.
I'm humbled right now, so don't worry.
So we started, you know, that was like phase 2. And that evolved actually into a group ended up being called Jerry Moore, Martha Velez Show, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Right.
And I don't know, you know, we got to open for a lot of people, Stylistics, Sly and the Family Stone. Mark, when he left the band, he went and played with Stevie Wonder for a while. And then I can't remember the guy's name. There was a guy played the accordion and started wearing the zoot suits. And then what happened?
I want to ask you a question. Can you? I was obsessed with, still am, with Jerry Garcia, and he played with his band. The Garcia band played at the Chance in Poughkeepsie in '83, and I became fascinated with this club called the Chance, and I'm like, could Jerry talk a little bit about playing in Po-Town with the working band and sort of those upstate New York gigs, at Saugerties, you know, Mount Auburn, you know, the kind of vibe. This upstate New York vibe that was so powerful.
Oh, like the Last Chance Saloon. Yeah, man, that had been all the way back from vaudeville days, you know. And when we were playing there, especially with Martha, there were lines. You know, it started off the first time we went to play because it kind of been pretty dead, and we went and played. You know, first there it was pretty much at our own expense, but you know, over a few months it built. Man, there were long lines, and people would come and jam, and it was just hot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. We would, you know, people let people jam, and that's something, you know, I didn't run into here in California. With, you know, other musicians would come play the jam, and guys would end up in bands, and you know, even with the work, the kind of vibe it was to be the like at the Espresso in Woodstock, for instance, Lincoln Schleifer, bass player, killer bass player with the Jerry Moore Work Band there. I had gone back to, like, after Martha went and she did some recordings for, well, Bob Marley produced this record for her.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's the only person outside of his family that he ever produced. And I had gone off to do the Sussex recording, so I was back in town, and, you know, if I needed some money, I went out and did gigs. So one morning, this guy, Lincoln, showed up at my door, said he wanted to play, and I said, well, I wasn't looking at a gig or anything. But the dude came back 3 or 4 times, you know. So I told him, I said, okay, you put some guys together, and I'll show up for the gig.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he did. And I showed up for the gig. And then he got Pepe Pabon out of New York to play drums with us, and it took off, man. It's just like, but, you know, it was free. Like, a lot of times I would start songs at the gig. The guys didn't know. And Robin Sturgeon, was the guitar player, was telling me at first it used to drive him and Lincoln crazy. But said it helped them get their chops together. And Lincoln came out here with 5 blind boys of Alabama. And he told me that he got that gig because of that experience. He learned how to just, on the fly to do stuff. And he ended up playing with Donald McDonald and a bunch of different people.
I
mean, the vibe was open. I would let people sit in, I mean, people jammed. I mean, all bands crossed. I found a tape where at one time Don had a band called Return of the Kings, and they were hot, man, just hot punk band. And I'm trying to place what the occasion was, but it was like the work band, his band, and then we were all with Martha at this at the Last Chance Saloon. I don't know what the occasion. I don't remember what the occasion was, but people, different groups just crossed back and forth. And during that time, like the guys from the band, I know Rick used to come down Banco Jam, and there's that interface with Butterfield, and I mean, people coming in town. Orleans was there in town. Taj came up and lived for a while. Hendrix was up there, living for a while, and
Mingus went up there, but
yeah.
I find that I just wanted to first of all, I want to pay tribute on my show to one of the greatest drummers of all time. He left us this week. He spent a majority of his life. He grew up in Arkansas. He was a dirt farmer through and through, but spent some time in Canada as well. But Levon Helm was a Woodstock guy through and through, and it warms my heart to know that there was a period in music history where Jerry Moore and the Working Band might have been at the old, Mount Temper, saloon, or the old, whatever it might be, one of these old sort of, clubs, with a bar and some table seating, and to know that guys like Danko and Manuel and Levon, Butterfield, you guys would cross paths and maybe play a little bit. To me, that was, you were salvaging the authenticity, whatever remained in music. I mean, nobody was there to get rich. It was there to just play.
Yeah, it was. What Levon was doing, because Lincoln was playing with him over the last couple of years, like in his house. He turned it into
the Midnight Ramble.
Where he performed. Yeah. It's cool. The guys go out and play.
But did you ever actually? Did you wind up on this Martha Velez album, Hypnotized?
Hypnotized. I'd have to go. You know what? I'd have to look at the songs on it.
I got Two Bridges, Black Rose, Space King, Living Outside the Law, Bird Cliff, Summer.
Oh no, we did those tunes. We did them, but they for the actual album, they if I remember correctly, they used the musicians, the producer did.
My question is this. Okay, so just try to put it in perspective for me. Like Ellen and Martha both were working for. They got contracts with Polydor to cut albums, but
say that again. I'm sorry.
Ellen McElwain and Martha both were cutting albums for Polydor, the company, and I just want to know why they were not allowed to handpick their musicians. It surprises me that you would have played with these women and then you wouldn't have showed up on the album.
Okay. Well, with Martha, I think at that point, what's his name was looking at he wanted to manage. I think pretty much Martha, and no, it was the record company. I was going to say Bonetta, but no, he was trying to manage, but I don't think he made that decision. It was the record companies, yeah. So, you're saying why didn't? Well, I don't know. She got some people that she wanted. I think on one or two of the albums she got some Sissy Houston and those guys to do some backups and stuff.
No, I mean it seems the way you portrayed that band. It was hot. You guys were playing. You were gigging, and you clearly had chemistry. And why she wouldn't go into the studio with that band doesn't make it. I guess that's just the business aspect of it.
Yeah, well, her contract was with them,
But you truly, I mean, Jerry, you have been grasping to go back to the roots music for a long time. You have these reunion bands, in Woodstock with your brother. The element of the business side of things never appealed to you. It was really about the intimacy of the performers, and most importantly, finding guys that you enjoyed playing with.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. This one article was in Wax Poetic, and the guy. I mean, I never spoke to him, but he said in it that Jerry Moore turned his back on the music industry. And as I was reading it, I thought, I never thought of it that way. But at one point,
did he say what he meant? Did he flesh it out with specifics? Did he just say it as a blanket statement?
Yeah, it was a blanket statement.
Well, that's pretty
Well,
weak.
he was saying that, but I knew a lot of I thought what he said came from Bernard, because he used the term, became a street preacher, I think is the way he put it, in Los Angeles, and that was sort of Bernard's take on what I ended up doing, being involved with, working with the homeless and stuff.
Well, we're going to talk about that too. I just wanted to. We're talking with Jerry Moore, and Jerry, I'm going to play another clip of music. You were kind enough to send me just a bushel full of good tunes, and let's check this out, and we'll come back and talk about it. Okay?
All right.
Listen to me, people, to what I have to say. Don't let other people's talking frighten you away. Lord, if anybody asks you, have mercy, who you are, tell them you're a child of God. Yeah. Lord, people of a single world, hey, they fill themselves with faith. Lord, they fail to see the sands of time are counting out their faith. Lord, if anybody asks you, who they are, tell them they're children of God. Yeah. It's not by name or place or skill, Lord. Hey, that I'm a son unto man, Lord. Nor but by the very truth of life, I plant my feet upon the land. Lord, if anybody asks you who I am, won't you tell them I'm a child of God? Yeah.
Is that the real Don Moore on bass?
Jake?
Jerry Moore?
Yeah.
Is that the real Don Moore on bass?
Yeah. No, that's my brother, Don Moore.
No, that's
You know,
his
that was the
email.
thing.
His email is the real Don Moore. That's why I said it.
Oh, that's his email. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I mean
Yeah,
that
that's
and he
my
was that. I mean, I can only imagine what his bands. I wanted you to talk about your relationship with your brother, because that bass playing, that was boogie woogie, soul, and everything. It was so beautiful, man. Because that's the kind of bass playing that I love so much. Plus those lyrics over the top. But your brother, what a smoking! I mean, he'll be on the show at some point. But why don't you talk about your relationship with him musically and personally?
Okay. Gee, well, growing up, we just, I guess I was the big brother, and well, when we moved into the Bronx, I know Kenny Nimroff was our neighbor, and, because back then it was a lot of, doo-wop singing, street acapella, street corner singing, and Donald and Kenny, and I don't know if you recognize these names, Pompanato, Joey Pompanato, and Frank Gallagher, the guys that ended up in RBQ, they all had a group together with Donald singing lead. And once or twice I would, like I remember he had to go to camp one summer, so I did the lead for him. And so all those guys evolved into doing music and playing. Donald actually started playing sax. You know, I played trumpet and up to junior high school, and Donald was playing saxophone.
Were you guys like Clifford Brown, Ben Webster kind of stuff? What would you guys model yourselves after?
Oh, and don't think, no, but we weren't. No, I think I was chasing, on the trumpet, I was chasing Miles. you know, Miles and, you know, I mean, there are other guys. I like, you know, the music, but, you know, basically, I think that was the only thing. And Donald picked up the bass when he was in college. He was out of Bowling Green University, and he put together a little band to gig. So he picked up the bass then. And then when he came back, I already had the group. I think it was already doing Children of God, the first phase of it. And he moved upstate New York, you know. And so, because, you know, the times I look at it and I say, why didn't we play together more, you know? And I think part of it was that, you know, when we played together with Children, and then when that split off, I ended up in the city. And almost back to your other question before that little break, the song, because it kept ending up doing a lot of benefits and a lot of stuff for causes, you know. And even got the rep of being the benefit king of Woodstock. But Donald, man, I love his music. It's so funky. His songs are so good, man. And whenever we do harmony, I guess a lot of it came out of church. You know, my mother playing, we would sing in church together as a family, and the harmonies, we just always you know, it's easy, you know, because I can start something and he'll be right on it, or he can start something and after that I'll just fall right in on it because, you know, we knew it. And no, he's just really, really, yeah, I hope you do get him on there. And like, I know I tried to call him now. He's doing a revival, and he's in Florida right now.
What do you have to say about these what do you call you said you were the cause king? You played a lot of benefits. The benefit king.
Yeah.
And just before we go to a break here, I just wanted you to talk a little bit about the idea of always having to play for the art of it, and never and having the monetary thing being kind of secondary or tertiary, and how quickly you rationalize that in your career in about 2 minutes.
I always blew it. I would always try to go say, you got to be practical, pragmatic. You need money to live. But I would always blow it. You know, we end up doing benefits and stuff, you know. And then, you know, I think the whole thing, part of the 60s was people were talking about integrity and your art, you know. And when I left Columbia, when I walked away from Columbia early on, I thought that's what I was going to do, you know, because I was going to have the right to make my own choices about the music I do, record and stuff. I was a little bit naive because I didn't really totally understand the whole, you know, the technical side of recording and all that, what all was involved. But,
I mean,
you know,
yeah, it's just as we go to a break here, you know, Jerry Moore, just an amazing talent and clearly misunderstood and in some ways blackmailed by certain people in the industry. And we're going to talk a lot more about the holistic approach of the Moore philosophy since he's moved to the City of Angels. When we come back on the other side here with a special edition of the Jake Feinberg Show. This is KWFM 1330 The Star. Jerry, hang tight. We'll be back in just a little bit.
CBS News, I'm Sam Litzinger. Some called him the evil genius of the Nixon administration.
They had no knowledge or involvement in the Watergate.
Charles Colson, who was the president's special counsel during the Watergate scandal, once said he'd walk over his grandmother to get his boss elected to his second term. He's died at age 80, historian Douglas Brinkley.
Welcome, everybody, to a special edition of the Jake Feinberg Show, rollover edition, in fact. And Jerry, first question for you out of the box: are you sad with the loss of Chuck Colson?
Hello?
Yeah, Jerry, are you upset with the loss of Chuck Colson?
What about the loss of him? I know about it. Yeah.
No, what I'm trying to say is I just find it ironic that this guy who was at the core of really the administration that sent us into a downward spiral has passed. And I was wondering if it was somewhat of a joke, but I think part of the reason you guys had so much on your minds and you were able to script things and talk about things was because there was really a lot of experiential stuff going on. You had the Vietnam War, you had the collapse of the executive branch, and as well as you had the judiciary branch caught up in all sorts of these women's rights issues at the time. It seemed like we became extremely human during the early 70s, and I was wondering about if you could talk a little bit about after Children of God and you got your footing and you were going into academia and you decided to leave. When did you what was the next step in your existence in music? And aside from paying the bills, were you in a good place at that point?
Okay, no, what had happened, there were some buildings up, Kingston is right near Woodstock.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And there were some buildings, and this guy had, his name was Ron, he had this idea of taking these old buildings down on the waterfront to fix them up, and the people that worked on them would own their own apartments and stuff. And so some guys at IBM had sold a couple buildings to them for $1, like not for profit. So we had done a benefit to help them raise the money for that. And some time had passed, and I went and checked at one point, how's it going, blah, blah, blah. And it turned out he'd pretty much been run out of town. And this one guy who was the treasurer, but the way he'd set up the papers for their not-for-profit, no one person could sell it out. And this one guy was telling me how he'd been threatened and stuff. So me not having a job working like for IBM or any company that could be threatened because I had the independence of being a musician, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went over and approached the city of Kingston, and it was funny when I first walked in on them, the building people, because they were trying to take the buildings away from the group.
Sure.
I had this dashiki and this big afro, and if we could. So I walked in, man. These guys were like, "Whoa!" up against the wall, And but then after we talked for a while, and then they told me, said, "No, it was going to cost X amount of millions of dollars to get the stuff done," and kind of threw a challenge at me about it. Can you do it? So that set me off on finding people all around the country, actually, that were doing similar things with buildings and different projects. And then here's the outside thing, man. Eddie, that had been in Children of God, he had gone with, you remember Dreams?
Sure.
Brecker Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways,
Billy Cobham.
Huh?
Billy Cobham played drums, I think.
Yeah. So anyways, he had, after the band, he ended up being the head of this one organization in the Bronx that was restoring buildings, And so that put us back together. And he came on up, and long story short, we were able to save the buildings. But during that period of time, the guys in the band and the work band would say, "Hey, man, we need to live," And so the work band, Jerry Moore work band, just finally, it went. So I was totally broke. I did have a chance at that point. They said I could have gotten a grant for the building, be the head of an arts, community arts development thing,
mm-hmm.
and which would have brought me $30-40 grand a year. But I felt that I couldn't really do that because it would look like, you know, maybe it's been in for the money, you know. So I had a girlfriend who had come out here. Martha was out here in California. Keith was out here. A bunch of people. Sam Keith, McKeith, I think was Sam's last name. He grew up with us in the Bronx. Was the head of one of the biggest booking agencies out here. And all these people in the industry would tell me, you know, come on out, man. You know, while you're staying up in the mountains, you know, everybody's in position. So I came on out.
Everybody's in position.
Yeah. So,
I love
I
the,
even
I
had
love the
an
terminology. You know? That's great.
Well positioned to be helpful.
Oh,
to make it
absolutely.
regular.
I get it. I get it.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cynthia was her name. She told me, "Come out. Don't worry about, you know, we don't have to hook up or anything. I'm working a job. You can just write your music, and if you get a good deal, you know, you just remember I helped you. You know, build it." But you know, that was set up, I guess. Anyways, what happened? I ended up becoming a father. The mama, papa, and the play group because I was working nights, you know, doing music. I even did some street singing, passing the basket on the street. Really interesting experience. And busking, I think, is the term they use in Europe. But what happened was, so I was still doing some gigs, and I just got to the point, like I started thinking about my son, you know, not going on the road, not seeking out that to do, you know. And I think one of the things that really nailed it for me was one night I had come home after a gig. I picked up my son from the babysitter. I came home. His mother and I had split. And one of the guys in the band had climbed through the window, and he was in the apartment with a couple of people, you know, women getting high and stuff, you know. And I said, no, that ain't going to work, you know. And I don't know, but then it was almost like a Richard Pryor comedy.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Everything just started boom, boom, exploding, and it was almost like I was gonna, you know, it was like I was gonna end up on the streets or something. You know, it was like everything was falling apart, and I just, I don't know. It was like the way the doors started opening. You know, it was like a God thing, man. It's just the way the doors just started opening. I was going to quit doing music. You know, I had started feeling guilty about, you know, I said, well, if it was a gift, you know, all we did was glorify a lot of negative stuff and, you know, how much misery it caused in different women's lives, you know, because of things that they might have had to try and take care of, you know. And you ready for this? Let me see how quickly I can run this by. So I was going to quit. I didn't tell anybody I was going to quit because I knew everybody would say don't. I was playing this gig on the pier here in Santa Monica Pier, and I was driving a cab part-time. So this woman, Helena Busima, great singer, man, great singer, that I had worked with for a while as a singing waiter, and she was coming down to the place on the pier. She'd come down and jam, and these people were coming with her from her church, right? And they kept inviting me to go over to sing, and I was like, nah, I don't know, you know, I don't think the last time I went, they were Catholic, and it was a Catholic church. The last time I was in a Catholic church, it was all Latin, you know.
Right.
And so what happened, I snuck over one evening, and they were doing like praise and worship music, you know, which was cool. And then they had this, I went and sang for a fair they were having. You know, I talked to Mom about it. Mom said, no, that's cool, go sing, you know.
Right.
And what happened after that, after I sang there, I prayed about it, you know. I said, well, okay, God, should I quit, you know, or not? So did this. I remember I was a guitar player, right? So now this priest gave me an electric piano, Fender Rhodes, right?
Oh, that's great.
And out of the blue, and I'm like, is okay, is that the answer to prayer? I don't know. Wait a minute, Catholic, you know?
Yeah, right.
Catholic, I don't know, maybe it can't be the answer to prayer. So then I get this thing in my head called Mike Ruff. I don't know if you're familiar with Mike. He was playing sessions for everybody out here, all the Motown people and stuff. And Donald had brought him to Woodstock, and he was out here. And the thing, like, was call Mike, ask him if he's got anything he's not using, just like that. And I call him and said, Mike, you got anything you're not using? And first he said no, and he said, yeah, I got a Prophet 5. So now I had 2 keyboards, right?
Wow.
And I'm saying, okay, is this, you know, is this God? You know, is this an answer? And then when I was driving the cab one evening, with all these weird changes, and anyways, I picked up a guy who was on his way to Israel, and he gave me a keyboard.
In the span of how many months did you get 3 keyboards?
No, man, this is in a matter of a couple, you know, maybe 2 weeks.
Right. So then it was.
And I got these,
yeah.
I got 3 keyboards, and then Curvis, a friend of mine from Woodstock, Curvis had worked on. You remember that thing, "Mind's a Terrible Thing to Waste"?
Mm-hmm.
And so he and his wife Elizabeth had moved to Detroit, but they were coming out here with a guy who good at helping people break addictions, you know, spiritually. And so anyways, they'd asked me to help them get some stuff together, and like sound equipment for what they were doing. And the last place we went to was the street corner in South Central LA. And so, you know, I wasn't doing the music. I got some guys to back up Curvis, and I had borrowed this equipment. This guy who at St. Monica's actually had some equipment in the Valley, and the deal was I could use it, and he wouldn't have to go pick it up himself and get it back to him. So we ended up on this street corner in South Central, and so they played, and afterwards, this guy comes up to me, his name was Otis, and he says to me, we've been praying for a musician to come work with our ministry, and the pastor said, it's you.
Wow. Wait,
And,
they just pegged you right away. That's what a beautiful, what an extraterrestrial experience. That is absolutely
But
awesome.
dig this. Oh, let me see if I can knock this out real quick.
Yeah,
'cause,
yeah.
So he looks at the equipment. You know, I'm thinking, well, maybe it's me that's going to get somebody to play with him, like I did for Curvis, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he says to me, is this your equipment? I say, no. He said, maybe God's going to give it to you, you know. So then I did what they call put up the fleece, you know, just not out loud, but just thought, okay, God, if you give it to me, I know I'm supposed to do this thing, right?
Is it called put up the fleece? Put up the fleece?
They call it putting up a fleece.
Okay.
Like in Scripture, there's a story of a guy, he puts the fleece out in the morning, says, God, you know, if you want me to do this, you know, it'll be wet in the morning.
Right.
And then he puts it out another time, he says, even though the dew's going to be all around it, it's going to be dry, and that was his sign. So
right.
they call it putting out the fleece.
Right. So you laid it
So,
down. You laid it down.
Yeah, so I'm trying to catch up with the guy whose equipment I borrowed to give it back to him, and he's not answering my calls. So I went down and caught up with him after his mass. I said, what do you want me to do with your equipment? He said, I hope you can use it because it's yours. So now I had 4 keyboards and a sound system. And so, figured, you know, like, I'm stubborn, you know. I said, okay, I'm bullheaded. I said, okay, God, I got it. I'll work with them. But here's the part, man, Jacob, take this. Here's the part that blew my mind. Like maybe a year or 2 later, I realized what had happened. The first time I went to that church to sing, Curvis had come with me, and a drummer from, I think it was the Vineyard Ministries named James. They had all come with me when I went to sing there. Now, the reason this guy gave me his equipment was he got healed of cancer, and he decided he wanted to go to a seminary, and he was giving away all his stuff, right? And what I realized later was that Curvis and James had prayed for him to be healed of the cancer. He got healed of the cancer, and so here it is, like a year later, Curvis is coming to California, and this guy you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm trying to.
Yeah, I absolutely, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, so it was like, well, anyways, I ended up in the street ministry. It was.
But you know, but and that is Providence at work, and and I've discovered Providence probably in the last year of since I've started this program. I mean, I've been dealing with spiritual guys, and you're the latest, and then you relay a story like that, and so I understand that power. I'm still, working on my dialogue with Providence. But that being said, what struck me is that it seemed to me that people, forgive me, I don't remember the names, Alderson or maybe somebody else who was talking smack about you as a street creature, almost shaming you for doing something that God told you to do.
Oh, yeah. Well, that came mainly from Bernard. I could tell.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Who is that? Why would he? What did he have against? Why was he so angry with you? And why did he try to go after you in such a when you had such an enlightenment? And then he tried to cut out. Basically say he just is a nothing.
That's Bernard. He owned the ESP Disc, the record company. And
But what's his full name?
I was just, huh?
What's his full name?
Stallman, Bernard Stallman.
Where is he? Is he still with us, or is he somewhere else?
Yeah, he is. As a matter of fact, he still has the ESP Disc. He was the work band, Jerry Moore work band. He switched to put out DVD, put it as Woodstock work band to try and capitalize on the Woodstock thing. But I don't know. Bernard is, my relationship with him isn't quite as bad as some other people, but he's called me a few times, and he called me recently to tell me that he's been able to that he lost his catalog, and the reason people weren't getting paid was these other companies weren't paying him, and bad distribution. I know the Thugs, he ended up in a court case with them for a while, and but he said that a lot of stuff's been sussed out, and he was trying to see about getting me to say, put out a new box set or something, but my relationship with him is a little different because I got all my tapes from him. He gave them to me, no sweat.
Right. It wasn't. You didn't get into any litigious kind of thing with him.
What?
I mean, I guess my point is, he gave you all this stuff, but he had sort of an expectation for you when you went out to sunny California, and it was different from what you decided to do. So he seemed like he resented that.
Yeah. Well, I had already been, I'd left. Right after the album, I pretty much wasn't with ESP anymore. I don't even know if the guys got paid. I never received a penny. I hope. I mean, Eric never said anything to me, or when he was living up in Woodstock,
Well, I'm going to call Warren. I'm going to call Warren Smith right after the show and get confirmation if he got paid or not.
Yeah, because I always took it for granted that they did.
I just, you know what it is. I guess here's the bottom line. I want, people like Warren Smith and Jerry Moore and Ralph McDonald, who's left us, and Eric Gale, who's left us. Those are the guys. Those are the gut bucket guys. The guys, the lifers, the Don Moores, the Ellen McElwains, the people who have gone about it completely the right way, in an intellectual way, in a holistic way, and in our closing, Jerry, I wanted to ask you. Did you ever get a chance to play at the Rhinecliff Hotel?
Rhinecliff?
Which was Rhinebeck. Rhinebeck was a little town about half hour from Kingston. And when we used to go to summer camp in upstate New York and near in the Berkshires, we would head into town into Red Hook. And Rhinebeck was a little appendage off there, and there was this funky little hotel called the Rhinecliff Hotel. It was right by the Amtrak station. I'm like, dude, if the Jerry Moore working band play, I mean, if you played the Chance, you might have played Rhinecliff. I was like, if they played Rhinecliff.
I remember going over there playing. I don't remember what the club was, but I remember playing in Red Hook and all of those places. Yeah.
Can you talk about your activity with the ministries now as it relates to the homeless?
Okay. Right now, I'm not as active as I was. Because lately, actually, we kind of got a little band together, Curtis and I, and we call it Faith Conspiracy, and we've been playing like at commissions and stuff. And actually, there's this group, the Bogner Thomas Trio, like Charlotte and her aunt and her mother. They're in the '90s, and they sing, and we back them up sometimes and play. But in terms of the homeless, I still work. There's a Hispanic ministry in Bajada de Dios that I work with, and we've been feeding people like on Thanksgiving, and got a nice plant there. I mean, in terms of the buildings there, that would love to turn into educational center, And there's a long story how I ended up being involved with that. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing with the Bomco Motel, where we were doing the first one I got involved with. It's a long story. It was LAPD said it was the worst spot in the worst neighborhood in the worst community in LA County. And man, there was some great things went on there. Bonnie and Otis Hazlett started it, and Virgil Wilson had moved in. He was living right there, you know. And we would have, like, on Sundays, in the beginning we would go on Sundays, and we'd have, like, a service and feed people and stuff. And it got to the point, like, the crack dealers would even stop during the service. And I remember one time I would take in the beginning I had a little Casio keyboard, but we'd plug it into that speaker that I had gotten, and we'd be down there and doing some music and stuff. It was a gas. And then we started working with kids down there, you know, because I had taken this computer repair course.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we started, I would get these old computers and we'd fix them up, and we started teaching the kids stuff. And it was really cool because this law firm in Century City came alongside us. You know, it's a long story, but and we were taking the kids up there to be tutored. And, you know, it was a groove.
Well, the point was that, you know, I mean, you, from a completely holistic and loving point of view, private enterprise reached out and saw the quality of the work that you were doing and came alongside you like an angel's wing and swooped you up and gave these kids even more of an opportunity as we move into a period of our existence where human cruelty is at an all-time high. Jerry Moore, I know we can do another hour or so, and we'll have to do it off air. I just wanted to tell you it's truly an honor. I know how much you appreciate my show, and I want you to know how much I appreciate what you have done for thousands of individuals through your music and your patience and your passion and your intelligence. And I hope this interview can serve as an educational tool for those who want to learn about the holistic person. So I thank you very much for taking the time today.
All right. And man, I really thank you for what you're doing, man. I've enjoyed listening to a lot of the archives, you know, like Gabe Baltazar, man. That's really important stuff. You know.
Otherwise, it'll get sucked in. Yeah, no, I mean it's vital, and it's been a springboard to other things. So, we'll be in touch. And as we
okay.
All right, man. As we leave, we're gonna fade out with this last track of music from Jerry Moore. Everybody hang loose. We'll see you next week.
We're calling your bluff, and I read somewhere you must choose your realities well.